Hello viewers and welcome to another exciting episode of your most resourceful property show, The Property Focus. They say the best things in life are free, and that's actually true. On top of many of the benefits soil naturally offers mankind, could it also be a futuristic building material? How can the manufacturing sector enhance mud to make it more durable and functional for modern construction? We'll be seeking these answers from two of our guests in today's show. Our first stop is right here at the African Heritage House, where we'll be talking to Alan Donovan, the soul of African heritage and the designer of this magnificent property, inspired by the famous mud architecture and pre-colonial designs in Africa. After this, we'll have a conversation with engineer Joseph Odhiambo, a services engineer from the Public Works, who will be demystifying the multiple roles that fall under services engineering in building projects. I'm talking about plumbing, electricals, and so much more. Our next stop will be Savannah Cement, actually not too far from here, where we'll be learning about cement as a building material with its production process and, of course, answering our questions about regeneration of soil for modern and future building technologies. Only on Property Focus, your window into the world of architecture, building construction, and real estate. Make yourself comfortable, get yourself a cup of tea, and enjoy the show. I'm your host, Peter Ngigi. In search of a place and a people that had not been influenced by the Western culture, Alan Donovan, who considers himself an incarnation of an early African man, found his way into Kenya in 1969. His love for African culture and art led him to a journey across Africa, meeting artists, collecting objects, and consequently establishing the African Heritage Art Gallery in 1972. He'd later study mud architecture and design the breathtaking African Heritage House, which he'll be telling us about today. Come with me, let's hear what he has to say. Tell us about the key considerations and what inspired the design of this particular house.
When I drove through from Nigeria across the Sahara, from Paris, I saw many beautiful pre-colonial architectures. The mud mosques in Ghana as well as in Mali, the biggest building made of mud in Djenné in Mali. And I was staggered by the beauty of these architectures. And so I thought at that time I would build a house based on the mud architecture of Africa, because a lot of it had been washed away, and today there's very little left because nobody's replaced it and it's washed away. So that's why I call it the lost architecture of Africa. This house, the front is based on the mosques of Timbuktu and Djenné in Mali. That side of the house is based on the palaces of the emirs in northern Nigeria, but most of the house is based on the Swahili architecture of the East African coast. So I combined several different pre-colonial architectures in this house.
I understand that the property is both a museum and also a place where guests can come and just get away.
Well, it's a national monument. It was made a national monument in January 2016. So of course I opened the house to the public. Now we have daily tours. We have people staying overnight. We have conferences. I have understudies and apprentices that come and stay for weeks at a time, sort of like an African Studies. And I plan to make an African Studies Center here with Strathmore University and others. I've been talking to UCLA, my alma mater, where I got my 3 degrees, and others to try to set up an African Studies Center at African Heritage House.
Talk to us about your experience building the whole place. Talk to us about your experience building the whole place.
Well, every day changed. We never knew what one day would bring to the next, because nobody had built a house quite like this house, based on architectures that they weren't familiar with. And now I'm building a new museum that's based on another pre-colonial architecture this is going to be my museum, which is also going to house my archives. The Archives of African Heritage is my legacy, and I'm combining it with the legacy of African ceremonies. That's Angela Fisher and Carol Beckwith, who've been my associates in African Heritage since 1972. So the three of us have worked night and day preserving, protecting African heritage. They've produced 17 books. This is their latest book, the double volume African Twilight, of which I've made a movie. I've shown her all around the world. I hope you show it on InTV. And it's never been shown in Kenya, as far as I know, but I've shown it in Mexico, Brazil, London, Germany, America, Paris. So they have 750,000 images, the largest archive of African culture, African rituals and ceremonies in the world. So the three of us are going to put our archives in this building, and we are repatriating our collections from London and from US and from Lamu, where they both had houses, and we're going to put the archives in this building.
What key considerations did you put into place while building this structure?
Well, number one, I wanted it to be as African as possible, not only in the architecture, but everything. The design, the furniture, everything to be as African as possible, and to use African materials. Like if you look at the sink in my new museum over here, it's a Kisi stone sink made of local soapstone. Everything, I tried to Africanize it, and based on African culture and African design techniques. So that was my main consideration.
And what are the unique features about this building?
There's many. It's flat roof, so we have many terraces on every level, including the very top, so you can enjoy the view of the park. And since it's based on mud architecture, it's far removed from what we normally think of as a modern house, but it's totally modern.
African heritage has to stand the test of time. What is one thing you'd like to tell our viewers who are watching you?
Well, as I say, I'm recruiting people to come to ignite the spark within them that wants to preserve and protect their own heritage. And I hope there's enough of them that when we do set up the Donovan African Heritage Trust, that they will support it. And of course, it's self-functioning. This could be a big tourist attraction. I wanted to set up 200 hotels based on the mud architecture of Africa. These are not hotels, they're cottages and different configurations of villages. I wanted to set that up on 200 acres along the park so that people could enjoy this wonderful, spectacular view. Nowhere else in the world do you have a city with a national park full of animals. That's unique. Only Nairobi. We must do everything we can to protect the park and the borderlands of the park. We should zone it and keep it so that whoever is building here has a reason. It's a campsite, it's a hotel, it's whatever, that people can look at the park and enjoy it without actually going into it.
Thank you very much, Alan. Really pleased to have had you on the show. I've learned so much. Most photographed house in the whole of Africa. Superb, superb. We'll have properties of the week next, after which we'll take a short break. Now, when we return, our guest engineer Odhiambo will talk to us about the practice of services engineering in building projects. You do not want to miss that, so do not go away. And welcome back. You're watching Property Focus, and as I had briefed you earlier, I'm about to chat with engineer Odhiambo, who's about to unravel the plumbing, electrical, and other services that come with the services engineering profession. Let's chat with him, learn a bit more in just a second. Welcome back. This is Property Focus. I'm here with engineer Joseph Odhiambo, and he's going to be telling us about services engineering. Welcome to Property Focus, sir.
Yes.
Good.
Thank you.
So tell us about services engineering.
Okay, services engineering is a specialized discipline which strives to create comfortable, safe, functional conditions within a building, and at the same time trying to minimize the effect of the building in the environment.
So what are the specific roles of a services engineer?
Okay, services engineer is mainly concerned with the design of these engineering systems. He again moves with them to the point of execution until the facility is handed over to the client.
So you will work with the plumber, the AC subcontractor, the electrical subcontractor.
Definitely.
And at what point do you engage with these different professionals?
Okay, after designing the system, depending on the nature of the project, you see the nature of the project dictates the kind of contractors you will bring on board. So there are projects which will require air conditioning. So in such a case, you will procure an air conditioning contractor who will come and install the air conditioning systems. Meanwhile, we also have the things to do with water supply, fall water drainage, which again you get the plumbing and drainage contractor. At times, we also have to think of protecting the building against fire. So fire safety, in such a case, we also have to get the contractors who are going to do the fire protection. So the nature of the project dictates the kind of subcontractors to bring on board.
Okay.
Yes.
So speaking of the nature of the projects, does every project usually require a services engineer?
Our services engineer is mandatory because he's the one who does the design. So the contractor comes to execute the design. Yes.
What are the industry requirements for this profession?
Okay, we have the requirement, the contractors have to be accredited.
Yes.
We have the National Construction Authority, which ensures that the players in the construction industry meet the qualifications which are required. We have the part of qualification and even the experience.
Please elaborate on the institutions that ensure that this is done.
Yes, so we have a number of professionals. If we start with like now when the contractor in a farm, the contractor, we have the director. So this director needs to be qualified in the field of engineering. He may be a degree holder or a diploma holder.
Okay.
Then when you come now to the foreman, he also needs to be at least a diploma holder in the relevant engineering field. Then we have the artisans who actually execute the works. So these are people who have got artisan certificates from relevant TVET institutions. So based on their qualification and the experience, the contractor is going to engage them. But again, they also have to be approved by the National Construction Authority. Yes.
What is the biggest challenge that you've encountered in this industry?
Okay. The building services engineering is evolving. It evolves continuously. So what happens is that sometimes, in most cases, we have the skills gap. So you may design a system and you go to the field, you realize that you don't have installers. So that skills gap is a big challenge. At the same time, we also have, once the project starts, the contractors also have got the cash flow challenges. So when they, you may find that they are handling a number of projects and maybe there are delayed payments from other areas. So you'll find that those cash flow problems have a negative impact on the project.
The whole project. Do you find then that people compromise on quality?
Let me just continue. We also have the aspect of counterfeits. Counterfeits are so many in the market. So, but what we strive to ensure is that the project is executed as per the design. So, where the design we have specifications. So we ensure that the contractors install whatever is specified.
Piped gas buildings. Is that ever going to be a reality here in Kenya?
In fact, that is where we are heading to, because we are thinking of having piped gases to residential buildings. Okay, in factories they have, but residential buildings we have never had. So that one, it is something in process. Yes.
In Kenya, what does the future hold for services engineering? What kind of projects are you looking at getting into?
Okay, the services engineering industry is expanding, just the way construction is also expanding. We have investment in hotels. We also have investment in learning institutions, hospitals. So all these ones are now highly specialized facilities which require the input of the services engineers.
Thank you very much. Glad to have had you on Property Focus. That was Engineer Odhiambo on Services Engineering. We have billboards up next and the materials profile thereon after. Stay tuned.
Banda Homes brings to you Hillsview Estate with 3-bedroom bungalows, master en suite in a gated community along Thika Road next to Mangu High School. These homes are on offer for just 3.5 million. For more information, call 0711 950 950.
And we're here at Savannah Cement with the Quality Product and Development Manager, Onesmus. How are you doing, sir?
Fine.
Welcome to Property Focus. So tell us about the raw materials that you need to make this product.
Basically, the raw materials that we use to make cements are clinker, clinker being one of the main raw material for the cement.
Okay.
We've got pozzolana,
Okay.
gypsum, and limestone.
Okay.
Yes.
Tell us about the process.
Well, the process of making cement, as I've mentioned, it entails the use of those 4 main materials that I've mentioned. But of importance to note is that clinker, being the main raw material of cement, and it is made up of limestone, iron ore, and clay.
Okay.
This material is specifically made in a kiln, where those raw materials are mixed in equal proportions and subjected under very high temperature, around 1650 degrees, to produce clinker.
Okay.
Clinker is blended with gypsum, another raw material for cement, to make a cement type which we normally call as OPC, ordinary Portland cement.
Okay.
And then there is limestone and pozzolana
Yes.
as part of the raw materials that again makes up cement.
So how many types of cement are there?
We've got 2 types of cement that we do here. SEM 1 42.5, that is ordinary Portland cement,
Okay.
and SEM 4 32.5, which is Portland pozzolana cement.
What are their uses and applications?
Now, for ordinary Portland cement, SEM 1 is a unique product,
Okay.
a specialized product that is actually used in heavy construction projects
Okay.
like roads,
Yes.
railway lines,
Yes.
silos, and big structures.
Okay.
Pozzolana-based cement, which we are calling that 2.5, that is Portland pozzolana cement, is actually used for common structural works.
I want good quality cement. How does one go about that? How do you know whether you have good quality cement?
One of the main things to look into as a layman, if you open a bag of cement and you want to tell whether this cement is good or bad,
Yes.
the first thing to look at is the color of the cement.
Okay. What
Right?
color should it
Because
be?
basically cement is supposed to be grey in color.
Yes.
So if you open a bag of cement and what you are seeing there is something maybe blue, green or yellow, that is not a good cement.
Okay.
If you touch cement, it should be a finely ground material.
Okay.
So if you touch the cement and you feel it is coarse,
Yes.
again that might raise an issue. Probably there is contamination
Yes.
with maybe sand or soil or something else.
Okay.
If you mix cement with water
Yes.
and you form like a thick paste,
Yes.
and then you feel the smell of ordinary soil,
Okay.
that smell of mud,
Yes.
then that means that product is not good.
Okay.
Again, also in the application,
Yes.
since the cements are not denoted
Yes.
with respect to their strengths,
Yes.
if you are doing a 32.5 cement,
Yes.
you know that this is the strength that you are supposed to achieve maybe for 10 days, 7 days or 28 days. If you get anything less than that, again, it's a question of the cement might be good or bad.
Yes.
The other thing is about setting.
Yes.
If you mix cement with water, there is that recommended time that it should take before it hardens.
Okay.
If it takes maybe 1 day or 2 days, again, it raises questions on the quality.
Okay.
So those are some just of the few factors that you look into a good quality cement.
I can see lots of huge structures over here and just machines buzzing everywhere. What are some of the trends that you guys put in place to ensure that you're still relevant in the market?
As I've mentioned, in Savannah, we've put quality as our first priority. And one of the things that we are doing, being 7 years old in the market, and as you can see, we are actually coming up with another extra line to double our capacity.
Okay.
This means we are moving from 1.2 to 2.4 million tons. By the end of this month, we'll be rolling out our second line.
Any new technologies?
We are actually the first company in East Africa to introduce the roller press technology in our existing mill.
Tell us about it.
Now, a roller press is a pre-grinding unit where before the material gets into the mill, first it is pre-ground. And that means what? It is energy efficient, meaning the issues of energy consumptions are minimized.
Yes.
We are able to minimize the energy consumption, we are able to get finer products, and that is why we cannot compete when it comes to the matters of quality.
Okay.
Just to mention,
Yes.
as a result of high quality product that we've been able to make, we have supplied cement to SGR, Standard Gauge Railway,
Wow.
Karuma Dam in Uganda,
Yes.
other projects in Southern Sudan. So those are some just of the few projects that we've been able to do as a result of high quality products that we are making.
Talking of other cementitious alternative materials that can be used for cement, what about soil?
Thank you so much for that. One of the projects that we are doing here in Savannah, I'm currently actually leading that project, is try to see how we can use clay,
Yes.
right? Clay is actually just ordinary soil.
Yes.
We calcine this clay,
Yeah.
mix it with limestone, and make what we call calcined clay cement.
Okay.
In fact, in April of 2019, the company sent me to Switzerland to go and study about calcined clay cements.
Okay.
And that is part of what I'm doing for my PhD.
So you're saying in near future you'll have clay and soil used as a building material for projects such as concrete structures such as these?
Okay, what we are saying is that we will actually use the clay,
Yes.
that is the ordinary soil,
Yes.
calcine it,
Yes.
and make what we call limestone calcined cements.
Yes.
And these are special types of the cement which will have similar properties as the Portland cement. Just to add on that,
Yes.
here in Savannah we've developed a product we call hydraulic road binder.
Okay.
Hydraulic road binder is a product which addresses the issue of road construction.
Yes.
It's a product that we have tailor-made to be used for stabilizing the road.
Yes.
So that when you are constructing the roads,
Yes.
you don't need to go in using a very high-end product like the OPC which I had mentioned.
Okay.
You can actually use the HRB first
Yes.
to stabilize the roads
Yes.
before now you go into doing now the real construction with the OPC.
And there you have it, calcined clay being the future of cement products to reduce CO2 emissions. Thank you very much, Onesimus. Glad to have had you on the show. Good, good. Let's go have a look at some of the rest of the stuff. What an experience. Today's show was undoubtedly packed with lots of information. I hope you enjoyed our lineup as much as I did. Chat with us all week long via social media, and we'll be up next week, same time, same place, with another amazing episode of Property Focus, best show this side of the Sahara. I'm your host, Peter Ngigi.